20 to 8 is the time. Morning to you. Fifth of all CCTV cameras in the world are here in the UK. It's a scary thought, and one of the many things highlighted in the BBC One thriller, The Last Enemy, which takes a dark look at what our lives could become. Its star is David Harewood. Harewood?
Harewood.
Have we not met enough before? Morning to you.
Good morning.
Before we talk about that, let's talk about secondary double glazing and saving money in your house.
Well, this is
British Gas this morning, making all that money.
Absolutely. I mean, they came around knocking on my door the other day saying, you know, that we could switch to British Gas, and you think, well, hang on a minute, haven't they just put your prices up by 15%?
Is that what you said to the man?
Yeah, I did.
What did he say
And
back?
he kind of tried to give me some flannel about, oh, no, it's still good value. And then here they are, four weeks later, telling me that they've got $6 million profit.
Yeah.
£6 million profit.
And what do you like with people in the street working for charities and stuff like that? Do you give them a similar cuffing as well? I mean, do you not like to be approached this way?
If it's worthwhile, I'll stand and have a chat. I think it's always good to kind of at least give them some time, you know.
OK. There you go. Secondary double glazing is the answer. Tell me about The Last Enemy. Proud of the work?
I am, actually, yeah. It's a kind of dark look at... the tagline for the show is, the future is closer than you think. And this is set maybe 3-4 years in the future. But it's really not too far from where we are now. If you think of all these... I think we've got the most CCTV cameras in the world in this country. And we're soon to have ID cards. And if you kind of link ID cards, data, you know, all this data, the amount of times you use your Oyster card or your credit card, all that data is going to go somewhere. And if you think all that's going to come to a central point, it's quite a frightening thought to think that the state could soon know where you are at any given time of the day. And
do you feel oppressed by that yourself? Do you feel that when you're walking down the street and just going about your business?
Not necessarily oppressed, but when I get a letter through my post from the government saying it apologises for losing my child's data, then I start to think, well, hang on a minute, who's in control of this? I mean, it's OK them saying it's all going to a central point and it's all going to be looked after, but actually, what proof have they got that it's going to be looked after?
Yeah,
so,
indeed.
And they've not really done too well on that.
OK, we'll take a quick clip here and have a chat about it after this.
When the old man showed up, he disappeared.
Younger? Older, tall, short?
He was like you, a Westerner.
What about a vehicle?
No vehicle. No sign of one either. The man on the hill was on foot. We've got no use for that. He'd like the shoe. He's already got the other one.
What's it about?
Well, to tell you what it's about would ruin it. It's a kind of political thriller. It's just basically kind of a very thought-provoking drama about the increasing level of state intervention, really. And as I say, the writer, Peter Berry, has really crafted a great script, which really does, hopefully, will create a lot of debate.
OK. Looking forward to seeing that on Sunday. And I wanted to congratulate you as well. You won Best Male at the Screen Nation Film and TV Awards, didn't you?
I did, yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year. Why didn't we hear about that? Wasn't out there.
Wasn't out there.
It's an ethnic show, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and it's pretty surprising. I mean, I watched the Brits last night, and it was quite disappointing, really. There was no black male British presence in the whole show. And I found that a little strange.
Annoying.
Well, that's where we are. That's kind of where we are as black performers in this country. It's very difficult to break through, even when your own country doesn't give you that kind of platform. Really.
We have a lot more to talk about. You're in later on, aren't you?
I think so, yeah.
We have a coffee machine out there. Everything's fine. See you in a minute. Thank you.
Now, a fifth of all the CCTV cameras in the world are here in the UK, would you believe? So whatever you're doing, someone somewhere is likely to be watching. This is one of the many things highlighted in the BBC One thriller, The Last Enemy, which takes a dark look at what our lives could become. Its star, David Harewood, joins us now. Good to see you this morning. That's amazing, isn't it? A fifth of all the CCTV cameras in the world are here.
It is, and we are indeed being watched. And every time you use your credit card, every time you, you know, I think if people were to ask themselves on their way to work this morning how many times their image was captured on CCTV camera, they'd be quite surprised, actually.
Should we be worried about that, though? Isn't it one of those things, if you're not doing anything wrong, it doesn't matter, and maybe it keeps us all safe?
Well, some people would say it keeps us all safe, but you know, you can catch me parking legally on a street corner in Brixton, but it can't catch burglars, it can't catch murderers, you know. So one has to ask yourself, there's got to be a fine line, a divide line somewhere between intrusion and safety.
And now The Last Enemy explores that, doesn't it, the line between intrusion and safety? Your show, talk us through the premise.
Well, I don't want to give too much away because it is a political thriller and one wants to be kind of drawn into the story, but basically we're on the trail. It's about a man's search for the truth, and if you can imagine, if the state is kind of basically watching everything that you do, and can kind of control everything that you see, if you're trying to find out some information, they have a very good way of stopping you, because the internet is monitored, our phones are monitored, what we watch is monitored. It will be very difficult to seek this truth. So it's about this man trying to find what really happened to his brother, and it kind of paints a picture of what would happen if, for instance, you know, we propose that we come to a situation where you're asked to prove your own identity. And that could be quite scary.
Should we have a look at what's coming up this Sunday? Let's have a look.
When the old man showed up, he disappeared.
Younger, older, tall, short?
He was like you, a Westerner.
What about a vehicle?
No vehicle. No sign of one either. The man on the hill was on foot. They've got no use for that. He'd like the shoe. He's already got the other one.
Fascinating stuff.
It really does. It really does pull you in. And as I say, hopefully the drama will really create debate, because it will start to ask, each and every one of us start to ask ourselves, well, hang on a minute, what is happening to all this data that people are collecting on us? Tesco's, all the supermarkets, everything that you buy, everything that you kind of purchase, all that data is collected to a central point, and somebody somewhere is selling that information onto other third parties. And, you know, we just start, all the drama is asking people to think about is what is happening to this data.
You're obviously passionate about this, the series that you're on, obviously passionate about it. Is that how you pick your scripts? Things that jump out at you?
Not really, no. I've been very lucky. This year has been really good. Last year was a really good year, and I had some excellent scripts come my way, so I was very fortunate. But, no, I mean, just like the people that have been texting in this morning, you know, it's about paying, at the end of the day, it's about paying the bills. It's about paying the mortgage, and it can be increasingly difficult to do that.
And are the parts good enough? Are the scripts good enough? Because you've been quite vocal about talking about that there aren't, you don't feel in this country, different maybe in America, the best parts for black roles, black actors.
I've been very fortunate. I've played some really great roles, but you know, one only has to look at American TV and see that there is a plethora of very prominent black actors doing extremely well, playing roles with real weight and real authority. I got a letter this morning in the Post from a young black actor in Birmingham who was saying he's really struggling to find those kind of roles. And
why is that then? Because
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to kind of fathom, but at the end of the day, it's just not being done. Those roles are not being created.
Because when the ball starts rolling, more and more people get involved. There's a bigger market that will happen as a direct result of that as well, isn't it? I mean, that's what's happened in America.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a market in America. There's a huge market in America. So, and a huge audience in America for black movies. And you know, you can have Dennis Haysbert play the president of America in 24, and nobody bats an eyelid. You know.
Yeah.
Also, you've got Barack Obama running for president in America, which is fantastic. Yet, over here, we still seem to be struggling with those issues.
Next thing, they'll be thinking about making a woman president of the United States.
How ridiculous is that?
Crazy.
lucky to keep a
Let's not go too far.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not go crazy. You're keeping busy, though. You've got lots of parts. You're in the Palace as well, which is kind of a rather lively view. Can I put it that way, of life in Buck House? What do you think of that? Have you heard whether the royals themselves, what they think of it, what the Queen thinks of it?
I have no idea. I don't even know whether she watches it. But, I mean, the Palace is just a real light-hearted bit of fun. You know, it's completely the opposite to Last Enemy.
And you enjoy it. You've met the Queen, though, haven't you?
On 2 occasions, I have to say, yeah.
How come?
And you know, it's really funny. You always think you're going to be I'm just going to be myself. You know, I'm not going to pander to this kind of whole thing. And then she walks in the room and you find yourself getting all nervous and your palms start sweating, and it just kind of happens. And I met her twice when I was playing Othello, and I had to do a speech from the play from Othello to a kind of an audience of dignitaries. And then the second time when I think she was doing something for the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. She's one of the patrons of the Royal Academy, and she was an invited guest. So. She remembered my name the second time.
Did she?
Really nice.
Yeah, she's good. She's very clever woman, or a good briefer. We don't know which one it is. Either way, it works. A good producer. That's how we operate, isn't it? In our areas, we haven't got a clue who you are, really. Anyway, Last Enemy, Sunday, 9 o'clock, BBC One. Really good to speak to you this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, still to come this morning.
I do know who he is.
I thought he did Harwood earlier on. I'm still getting over that.
Yeah, actually, Andrew does, to be fair.
Sorry about that. We live. Anyway, no, it's nothing.